am I throwing caution to the wind and am I putting on a bit of a front? I, I don't know. At this point in my life, I don't know. I've been this way for so long that I've twisted myself into doing the exact opposite of what that inner monologue says. Um, I think arrogance is probably a bit too far. I'm definitely a bit sure of myself. I'm probably quite a confident person, but that doesn't, to me, how can I be confident when the thing that's meant to G me up and push me up is the thing that's not trying to pull me down? Because I don't. That's not what it tries to do. But it nitpicks. It nitpicks at me all the time. It's always at me. Bah, 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 bah. And it's that I find that tough to understand how I can be outwardly so up and so positive and so good, but but in me I'm at myself all the time. It's odd. I find myself odd. It's just it's a weird. I don't. Maybe everybody's like this. Maybe nobody's like this. I genuinely just don't know.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, so I've had something similar. It's not the same as yours, Ryan, because we're different people. But that's when I suffered my mental health. That's what drove me to my mental health, I think, because I think I mentioned in the podcast, didn't I, that when you said to me earlier today, you said, or earlier in this podcast, you said, um, everybody's got this voice. Well, I actually had the other opposite thought when I first was having these chats with myself. I thought no one had a voice, and only I had this voice. So when I had this mental health issue, my mum bought me a book, and I mentioned this before, I think, where it was called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And in that book, this is when I discovered how I could start to do something about it. It said, you have something inside you called the chatterbox. And they were referencing the voice in your head. And I went, oh my God, this is it. So, like you, what you've just done is you've expressed that you have it. And that's the very first step, like Lee said, that's the first step of acknowledging it, because then that's when you can start, to actually vocalize it, to know it's happening. So when I was like you, Ryan, when I was in, a leader in the businesses that we do, I would take a break and I'd go to the bathroom and just lock the cubicle and just sit there and just have those thoughts being your shit, your crap, your rubbish. But as you said, like when I come back out of there, you would never have guessed any of that, because I would be portraying an outside persona that, hey, everything's great, when it absolutely wasn't. And that's what led to my downfall, because I didn't address it and I didn't have the capacity to deal with it. So that's part of the reason why I think it happened. I have to sort of analyze it now. So I have had it. I've now have it. Now what I can tell you about it now, because I've done so much work with it, I've had my counselling, about coaching and what I fill my life up with, i.e. all the personal development, all the inspirational videos, all that stuff has now helped. I don't have that voice. The voice I have now is really encouraging. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, because when I play tennis, you referenced Paul, I play tennis, right? And you said, oh, Joe, you probably say, oh, hit a good shot, all right? What happens is I hit a shot and then I say out loud, almost what my voice is, that was shit. And then I go, oh, hang on. I need to reframe that. And I go, oh, I just did my best. And at the end of each tennis practice, I'll say to myself, I lost a few sets, but I did my best. And you know what? You did all right there, and I give myself a pat on the back. And now when I do things, like when I hit any goals, like the goal to hit, for instance, TikTok 10,000 followers, right? Before, my voice would say, you're never going to get that, blah, blah, blah. So you'll never achieve that. Now I get, okay, what are we going to do then? What's the first step? Like Lee was talking, what's the first step? Right, just got to do regular videos. It's like almost like now helping me to generate solutions rather than working against me and putting me down. It's actually really quiet in there. And now I do meditation, I do my journaling, and now it's super quiet. And when I need to ask a question, it helps me rather than undermines me. And now I can safely say, like, it's taken a long time, but now I don't really have it. You know, sometimes it pops up like saying I'm playing a shot, but then I'll quickly it's now, hang on, I did my best there, it's great. You know, I'm not lying to myself. Hey, it's still not, it wasn't a great shot. I'm not, but I did my best. You know, I'm not purposely trying to hit the ball out, or I'm not purposely trying to hit the ball in the net. But it's still not shit. I'm just doing my best. Yeah, okay, it wasn't the best shot, but I'm doing my best at that moment, and that's how I encourage myself. And I always reframe all those things, right? So, yeah, I just love this conversation because I think a lot of people suffer this. And actually, today I did a video on self-image, and I talk about that exercise we did. Remember, Lee? Where look in the mirror, look into your eyes and say, I love you, and see what happens.
Yes.
I encourage everybody to do that because that is a test of where is that voice at now? Because that voice will either go, what you're talking, you know, or whatever, or it'll go, hey, I love you, right? Go on, Ryan, you can say, sorry.
It would laugh at me.
Right, yeah, there you go, right? So that is a real good litmus test as to actually, do you really love yourself, as in a kind way, or do you still have this challenge of appreciating who you really are? And you know, you're just a human being on planet Earth trying to do your best. And what you don't need is something or someone pulling you down. You would not, the things you're saying to yourself right now, you wouldn't say to your best mate, would you? Like, you wouldn't. No. So why on earth are we saying this to ourselves? Like ourselves. Why on earth are we saying?
I agree. I completely agree.
Yep.
But it isn't downtrodden the person I am. So to me, it doesn't matter what it says. But then that's a slippery slope as well.
Don't make excuses for it. Don't start pairing back on
because
what you said earlier.
I think what you said about playing the shot, Joe, and you're trying your best and that I completely am on board with that. It would laugh at me. Yeah. It would, if I said that to myself, it'd go, shut up.
Yeah. But you've got to keep challenging it. That's what you've got to do. Yeah. That's how you get there.
In no way do I have, and I want to preface it again, in no way do I have poor mental health, and in no way am I asking, is this a call for help or anything like that? In no way at all. But I just don't know where to start because it won't listen. It wouldn't, even if I wanted to, it would not listen. It feels like it's just completely out of control. And maybe these are the steps to try it, and I will, as you've suggested. And I've got some tips from ChatGPT that we're going to run out of time for. But
okay, I'll say on that note, just to say, I want to carry on this conversation again next week because there's so much to talk about here. And I think the next bit is your statement of it will laugh at me. We could do a whole show with that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Talk your.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
I've got a couple of bits here. There's a thread I saw on Twitter which ties in with this really well with a couple of advice bits on it, which I saw. So this is from name is life coach Laurie Bischoff is her name. You may recognise the surname Bischoff because that's a hugely important person in the world of wrestling, which I love. This is his wife who does life coaching, and because I listen to his podcast, I hear bits from her. And it just popped up top of my newsfeed on Twitter, and she gave reference to a book that she was given by her mum when she was younger, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder, I think it is, and she just listed off on a thread a load of quotes from it, and two of these are really important with this, and I kind of want to get them in before we move on to deeper dive on this over the weeks. But number 2 is your thoughts shape your life. And it says your thoughts are instruments for success or failure. What you think about it, what you think about most, aka dwell on, is what shows up in your life. If you want good stuff, dwell on good stuff. Cultivating prosperous thinking leads to prosperous results, which I think ties exactly what we're talking about there with things, because it's what are you talking about with yourself in your head. And the second one, I really need my glasses on, by the way, guys. I'm really struggling here without not is daydream with purpose. Your imagination is